What is up, you guys? Welcome to another Tuesday with Spencer here on FTM Transtastic. This week we are discussing gun laws and our opinions on gun laws and all things about that. We got an Anon ask about it, so I think I'm going to first read you guys the Anon. I'm going to state my opinions on gun laws and certain gun laws in my state, and I'm going to try to answer the Anon after it. And if I have time, I'll tell you a little story about guns. So the Anon asked us, I've been obsessing over the staggering number of trans violence in my country, which is the USA, and I've made the decision to go to the gun range to get proficient in shooting so I can apply for a gun license. I was wondering what everyone's opinion is on this existing gun laws in their country and maybe make it a topic. I've already been a victim of a traumatizing incident and in the men's room, and I can't go through that again. Alright, so we're talking about our opinions on guns and gun laws in our country. So I live in the United States. I live in Georgia to be exact, and I personally have a weapon, and I have a Georgia weapons license, which means I am able to open carry and conceal carry in the States. I conceal carry every day of my life since I was 17 or something. Obviously including my military experience. Since I've been a civilian, I've concealed carry as well. So I personally don't really care about guns, and gun laws, I think, can be stricter in some areas, but I don't think should be like overtly like hard to obtain. We all know that in the United States you have the right to bear arms, and I've always been one who leans more towards freedom versus security, so I kind of still want to keep my right to bear arms, and I want other American citizens to keep that as well. In the state of Georgia, to obtain a weapons license, you have to give 2 sets of fingerprints, 2 go to federal background checks, and 1 is a state background check. You have to pay $75 for like the processing fee or whatever, and you have to have a Georgia's license. So you can only conceal carry in this state, or you can only get a license to carry in this state if you have a Georgia permit, if you're a Georgia resident, which I think is the same in all states, but I'm not too sure. What the difference of concealed carry and open carry is, open carry means that you have to have a gun in a holster on your body visible for the public to see no matter where you go. Also, in your car, you have to place it in the passenger seat, open for people to walk by and look in and see that there is a gun visible. Concealed carry means that you are able to conceal your weapon from public eye via holster, pocket holster, ankle holster, etc. But I do want to stress that in the state of Georgia, you don't actually need a holster to carry your weapon. You can also put your weapon in a locked box, so in the glove compartment or the console in the middle of your car, in the trunk if your trunk locks, etc. So those are the differences between carries in Georgia. If you have a license to carry, you can do either one. So I typically conceal carry everywhere I go. I think some places we should have a little stricter. Like, for instance, they are trying to change the law. The law currently states that you can't have a weapon as a college student. I think that law should stay. I'm just thinking about my years as a civilian college student, and it was crazy with a bunch of drinking and stuff, and we all know alcohol and guns don't really mix, or um, any type of drug doesn't really mix with a weapon. So I would like to keep it that way, but again, I am not one to give up freedom for security, so hopefully, I have enough people who want to think of that way, so when we vote, it doesn't pass. But if it does pass, I'm not going to be pissed off about it, to be honest with you. I also don't agree with people who conceal carry or open carry in schools. It is, according to HB 60, which is a gun law that was passed in Georgia, that you're able to open carry or conceal carry, dropping off and picking up your student, which I think is fine, because that means, like, for me, if I was dropping off a student, if I had a gun on me and I was within 200 feet of the school, I would be charged with a felony charge. So I think that's fine, but this idea that teachers and workers in the school can conceal carry or open carry, I don't really know how much I agree with it, but then again, police officers can do it, so maybe I just haven't had enough research on it. So um, that's like the laws in Georgia. You can conceal carry, open carry as long as you prevent or provide the information, and you will get denied if you have a felony charge of violence or theft, or there's something else. I think like child endangerment or something, or if you have a mystery or drugs, violence, theft, and drugs. But if you have only misdemeanors or you don't have a felony charge of those things, such as if you have a felony charge for a traffic violation, you're still able to open carry or obtain the license here in Georgia. Now, going back to the Anon, I think it's very important to state that carrying a weapon of any kind comes with an enormous responsibility. For a gun specifically, the intended purpose of a gun is to maim or kill a target. That is an enormous weight and responsibility. So, if you are unable to fulfill that, then I do not believe that you should own a gun. From reading the small paragraph that the Anon sent, it states that they are being bullied and they basically want something for protection. That's what I got from it. I want to stress that it is important to be able to tell the difference between a life and death situation or a unpleasant one. What I mean by that is if somebody came up to me and started saying transphobic comments or racial slurs or anti-Semitic comments, and that's all they were doing, I would not pull out my gun to warn them that they need to leave me alone. But if somebody comes at me with, the force that could potentially hurt me severely or kill me, then I will pull out my weapon. And I think it's important that we all know the difference between that if we're looking to conceal carry or open carry or obtain a weapon of any kind. Um, I do understand that in Georgia we have this Stand Your Ground Act, which means that if somebody comes with the intent of doing force or harm to you, you're able to shoot and be protected under the Georgia law. But obviously, lines can be blurred. We've seen on the news, mistakes being made. Um, but what you also don't see in the news is how many times it's actually been effective. I think that it's important to know that if you are able to bear the full weight of that responsibility of owning a firearm, then I believe that you're the more than able to own one. I just hope that you know what you're getting into, and I hope that you know what you're able to do. And most importantly, I hope that if the circumstances arise, if a situation calls for you to use your gun, not just pull it out, but to use it, that you are able to pull the trigger, because there's nothing more dangerous than you owning a gun and not being able to fire on a person who is intending to do you harm. Because if they wrestle that firearm out of your hands, it just got into a very bad situation. So I guess my opinion on guns is if you have the ability and are able to fit that responsibility of owning a firearm, I 100% am behind you in doing so. I own a firearm and I carry every day. I've never had to use it in civilian life, but I still have it. It makes me feel safer. I also hunt, so it's cool to have as well. But if you enjoy you know this right, then you're 100% in my book able to do so, and I do not want to see anybody take that right away from you. Um, so that's what I have to say about it. I hope you guys are having a great week and are gearing up for an even better weekend. It is Tuesday. It is Spencer. Until next time.